Hello, how are you?
Hi, Cox. How are you?
It's so nice to see you.
I know. Feels like ages. This
I
can't
only,
happen.
I only see you on social media and then you're training or
Busy, eh?
dancing or dancing.
Or dancing.
I think the first question I want to ask you is, can you still remember your first cap? When was it? I know it was in 2011. Was it at
Yep.
Worlds or was it earlier that year?
Um, it was for the Spar Protea. I think it was in Singapore World Cup,
Yeah.
and it
Yes.
was against Jamaica.
Oh
Probably
my,
one of the if I think of it now, I can't even remember myself playing there. Like it was a bit scary, the pressure, like the feeling of I am here, but I'm so scared. So
yeah.
but it was just one of those.
Well, that is kind of deep end, starting your career off in the Protea team at a World Cup. But you've played for the under 21s and you were captain of
Yep.
that team. Do you think that have helped you a lot in gaining that experience internationally?
You do cut off every now and then, so I can't really hear. But I agree with you. Playing World Cup, obviously with the under 21s, and I did captain the team, so it gave me that little bit of having to adult quickly.
Yes.
And then joining the team, my first cap, I remember Coach Elise was still the coach at that time.
Yeah.
Amazing time with her. And I do remember her saying it was a brilliant first cap and all of that, but in my head I'm still like, I don't know if it was, because you know how hard it is to play that level, and
Yeah.
your first cap, it's like all the nerves and you can't even think properly.
Yes, no, I agree. I'm thinking back on Singapore because it was a really long tour. I remember Elise took us over for a pre-season camp in Singapore, so we were there a month before. And I just remember this one thing really clearly is that everyone went out every now and again just to not have netball 24/7.
Yeah.
And everyone went to the shops, and me and you stayed back at the hotel, and we were both sick. Can you remember that?
I know, it was all crazy. But even besides being sick and all that, like I still remember myself not even wanting to do anything else rather than being on courts, just training and then playing. And I think it just takes so much time for you to really open up and enjoy the space, like forgetting about the feeling, the nervousness of being in a national side, but just opening up to everything that happens in at the tour. So for me, it was more like I just need to play and train, and that's it.
Yes.
I was a bit shy, really shy. So everything other than that, I was like, no. As soon as I get time to be on my own, I'm like, yes, please. I'm happy to stay behind everyone. Quite hectic, but it's good memories. When you look back, then you kind of have that feeling that, goodness, I've gone such a long way. If I look at it now, how much of walking outside every time, trying to learn new things, rather than just playing. So it's been amazing. But I've been lucky, been playing with such a good bunch like you. So
Thanks.
some of the things I was quite forced to learn quickly.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. Well, I think it was the same for most of us, but I can remember, I think you got your nickname there. I wanted to ask you about that. But I just remember you standing in the restaurant, me and you staying back home, and you almost fainted, like you almost dropped there. And I was trying to keep you up, and you were just like such a fighter. Like the next training, I think you were probably there at the training. If Elise didn't force you to stay home, you really like working hard, and you've got that work ethic that you don't want to hold back at all. Is that something that's been there your whole life, or did it change when you became a Protea and you realized you really like that? Or when did that part of your, like that work ethic, when would you say you realized that's something you have?
I think I obviously started playing netball very late. I was 16 years old, and I knew exactly that I didn't really have netball skills. I wasn't as good. I just, from watching on the side, I loved the sport, and I loved going and watching my friends playing or training. then eventually I knew the rules. But when I started, at 16 years old, you are aware of what you're capable of doing and what's not. So more than anything else, I used to be very embarrassed when I'll see my teammates or any other girls doing some, brilliant skills, netball skills, and I know exactly I won't be able to do that. So I would say the wheel of wanting to really work hard came from my coach, my first netball coach, Mr. He used to be my high school teacher. He used to stay behind the trainings and really help me in, mastering the skill of catching the ball, the basic things like having to hook the ball quickly, pass it back to him, because that will help me when I play, like to grab the ball quickly. Even now when I coach, I still do those things with the kids because I know how much it helped me from literally being, fumbling everything into being able to catch. The extra work from there they put in, even now I still know that it's what puts me where I am today. And he used to tell me that as soon as you stop doing the work, you won't be able to play, or you won't be able to struggle and all of that. And in my head, every time, even if it's preparing for a competition, I constantly think, I need to be ready, I need to work hard. Even when we're at camp, we have trainings literally a couple of times where I'm like, gosh, I'm tired. But because I know, and I've told myself this, and he's taught me to really be a hard worker, because at a later stage, you really reap the reward. We all know that. Then I would just want to work hard. And I remember that day when I didn't faint, but almost fainted. And Dr. Kwaba was still alive at that time. And she said to me, you sweat so much because of the work that you do, but you don't really drink enough water. And even if I think of myself now, I have to be really disciplined and, beg myself to drink water, because I don't really feel like I need it. But because of the work I'm doing, I actually need it. Yeah. So I think this is, to me, one of the things that I even teach the kids that I coach, that it's not about, do you want to do this? Do you want to drink water? Do you want to work extra hard? It's something that you have to do. And you want or not, literally just put yourself into a situation where you can be like, I have to do it, then do it, because later on it will help you. So I think the whole will of wanting to work hard, it's simply because I know what working hard does, what are the results for that. And before you can even expect someone to respect you out of that, or wanting to play or wanting to get a bib, it's basically start from those minor things, step-by-step training, putting the hard work, doing the things that you need to do even when there's no one watching. I think it's all start from there. So I have to thank my coach, who was really good like that.
Yeah. How amazing is sport if you think how much you've learned about yourself. You mentioned earlier you were quite shy, and I'm exactly the same. But out of our job and things we need to do, we kind of don't, or people don't see us as being shy. And you being captain, would you say you've changed that a bit and you're not that shy, or are you still shy, but because you're the captain or because you're in a leadership role, you kind of need to stand up and you can't be shy? Have that changed?
Oh, sorry, definitely. I think you obviously know, even besides being the captain, in what you do, especially in sports, you really have to be brave and be confident. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how good you can be or how good you are, if you're not confident in your capabilities, you literally, you can end up missing a few times of really getting known or really getting opportunities, just because you're sitting back all the time. And by sitting back, I don't mean you have to now show up and just be all over people's face and literally, say things that you don't have to say. But when you do what you love, which is netball in this case, and you've worked so hard, you really have to just put yourself into an uncomfortable position. I think, I can't remember, Elise, who used to say, we've got to control what we can control, and take yourself out of your comfort zone, I think she used to say. So I think for me, it took me a while to really understand the bigger level, from playing from the high school, playing for districts, up to being at a national level. And because of that, then only later you realize, I'm not that bad, or I'm not as bad as I thought I was. And because of just that change, mentally already, because of the work you do, you then just become so brave. You see opposition in your head because you're brave now. You just have that sense of, I can compete. And I think with having to lead now a team, as shy as you can be, at some stage you really you can't be shy. There's no space to be shy. I've always been shy, even now I am. But I think with the experiences, you know, like playing so much netball, traveling so much, engaging with a lot of people, having to do a lot of interviews, meetings, like hard meetings, you would know we've done those meetings. And I think it just brings out of you a lot of you that you've never even thought you had. I'm really quite privileged. I think the positions I've been have taught me so much, and it's something that I'll take away even after netball. Take it with me.
I'm so glad you mentioned it. I think confidence is such a big thing in any sports person, in anyone's life. And I sometimes feel like the kids in school, they would rather doubt themselves than just backing themselves. And I think that's something you really learn through sport. And just having that confidence that you are there, if you put in the hard work, you can actually do it. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I think it's such an important point. Like I said, with my first tour, we played at different venues and we would travel from one venue to another. And when we got to the second venue, which was a 4-hour drive, I realized that I forgot my dress in the previous hotel in the cupboard. And it was just chaos. And I just thought it was because I was young and my head was all over the place. I was so excited for the game. And if I think about you, I kind of want to say your first meeting with Norma. Is there a story behind that? Do you want to share it, or do you want me to share it? And maybe just because usually after something like that happens, it won't happen to you again.
I am losing you, but I had something to do with the first time I met Norma, and did I forget something? So I know exactly what you're talking about. You're so bad, but it's fine. I'll talk about this one. Okay. The first time I met Norma, it was actually, I think we went away. I can't remember if it was in New Zealand with Elise and the Spar Protea. She was still the coach at that time. So Norma came to help the team during the session. She was going to take one of our sessions, and you know, everyone is excited because you don't know Norma yet, or you've heard about her. You know how good she is as a coach and all of that. And we were grateful of the opportunities that Elise is giving us. So at that time, again, I'm still so shy and like, you know, I just didn't want to be out front in anything. Then took my bags, you know, as you would do, went straight to the bus, off to training, and in my head, obviously, don't laugh. In my head, I've got it all under control. I'm going to training, bit nervous because obviously there'll be a new coach. I don't even know much about her. I didn't know much of the history and all of that. So I got to training as we would do, got to, you know, next to the courts, there'll be seats for us to sit. I sat there nicely, opened my bag, looking for my shoes as usual, already dressed. Gosh, bag has only a towel. You know what, Eri? That day, I literally opened my towel like a couple of times, looking for my shoe in my towel, because you know when you when you're in that situation, you kind of feel like maybe I'll find it. It has to be here. I know my shoe has to be in my bag. It has to be here. I looked even the smaller zip of my bag to see if my shoe is there. At the time, it's so nice to talk about it like this now. It was so nerve-wracking. I was so embarrassed, first before they even know. I was so scared because already I was scared of Elise. Now there's this new coach and I don't have my shoes. The first impression, I'm like, gosh. And I'm just a new player here in my head. I was like, whoa, this is not going to be good. It's not good at all for me. So anyway, eventually Elise found out I don't have my shoes because some of the girls, obviously someone did tell because I was scared to go to her. Yeah. Then she came to me, or I even already tried to see if someone has extra shoes for me to use. Who would have a shoe for Bongi? Can you imagine how tall everyone was? So generally they probably have bigger shoes. Yeah. So anyway, Elise came to me and she was like, don't worry, I heard about your shoes. just sit on the side and watch, try to learn as much as you can. At that time, trust me, I had tears in my eyes just listening to that, because in my head, I was like, literally, I've made up all the conversations, all the anger that she will come up with, you know. I just knew she's going to shout, she's going to be angry. So then she just got to me calmly and she told me this. So sitting on the side, I was watching, but obviously being in this situation, I don't even know if I heard any much that was going to help me, because I'm constantly thinking, what's going to happen after this? What is she going to say? What are the players going to say? So anyway, we finished. The session finished, and then Elise came to me and she was like, let me just say this, out of all people, I wouldn't think of you doing this. But anyway, and so you literally have to forget about it now and focus on the next. So I can't even remember if I got a chance to speak with Norma, but obviously she heard about this, because later on she reminded me the fact that the first time she got to miss us, to meet us in her shoes. So then Elise was like really nice about it. I can't remember myself stopping talking about it with the girls in my room. I was like, I still can't believe. I was in tears the whole time in the bus going back to the hotel. Not because she shouted me, just because, you know, sometimes you prepare yourself for so much that you're gonna hear, or for so much of being shouted at, and by the time that doesn't happen, it just hurts you even more. I don't know which one was better. I think it's just one of those memories. That's the best. It's not the best thing that happened, but it's just one of the best learnings, because after that, I think I really tried to be like on my feet with everything. I wanted everything to be done properly. And if I think of it, if that didn't happen, I probably would have done a few silly things like those. I still did some along the way, but it was just an eye-opener, and it's quite exciting. I can't believe you brought it up. Anyway,
no, I'm
it's
just
fine.
thinking back, and even with me, it's something that happened on my first tour and never again. Like, it was something I needed to learn, and my head is like that. I'm all over the place, and I'm in the moment, and I'm excited, and but after that, I was more aware, and I could actually help other people remember stuff, and so I'm kind of, it's like you mentioned, it's not the best thing, but it kind of taught you something, so it wasn't all bad.
It really did.
Yes. You touched on it, the role a coach has, and I think Elise changed a lot of things for the better in our country with the coaching, and I think she played a big role in your life. Is there something that, like, I remember she giving you the nickname Tiger, and it was just like you were such a fighter. So, is there anything that you specifically learned from, well, you can talk coaches overall, something you remember and that you've taken with you from that day on?
I think if I remember correctly, probably with Elise, if I start there, because joining the national team, she was the head coach. Openly, I can say I was really scared of her. And at that level, I had so much respect of how much information or how informed she was as a coach. And I don't think people really understands that with her, or I always feel she didn't really have much more time to show people how good she was, considering the fact that she stopped quite early with us. But if I think of her every time, I constantly think of firstly the word tiger, and how she appreciated what I can offer on court, yet knowing she can still probably bring out something more in me. I really appreciated that. And when I joined the side of us, she was the coach, and I think she was one of the coaches who gave me a chance. And with that, I always look back, and to me now as a coach, I think of this, the chance you give one player literally makes so much. It means so much to them. And if you look at a long run from where you started up to, at a later stage, I'm sure she looks probably at most of us and think, I've done a good job with her, or I gave her a chance, all those things. And I don't think that I appreciate these people enough. I probably still owe that to her. The next thing with her, I know she will always say Boki. And literally just because because I'm tiny, and that's to her, she never wanted to hide that. She always knew I was tiny, and still appreciated what I could offer with what I have. And I remember she used to make me stand in front of people and try to measure how tall I am, and then wants me to, you know, like lift my arm up so people can see how long my arms are.
Yeah.
I think for the first time, she made me realize that literally my arms are a bit long, and people don't know that.
Yeah.
So every time I will play, most of, you know, the ball, you would think, okay, I'll just chuck it over her head, or she probably won't be able to catch it. I will sometimes be able to catch it, not because I could jump, but probably because I could reach. And that she taught me. She made me realize that this is probably one of the advantages I have with my tiny body. But besides that, I think the anger and the passion, not the anger, but the aggressiveness and passion of wanting to represent your country, not just country, but God, your country and your team. I think all of that came from Elise, and it really, I still have goosebumps talking about this. She was amazing like that. She knew how to get us as a team, as united, and just to give us that fighting spirit. And if you think of, at that time, we were still losing by 30 goals margins. She never wanted, not even once, us to back off. So we will play even if we're losing by 20 goals second quarter. But the spirit, you know, the hunger, the will of wanting to go and representing your country and God with pride and your team was always there. Besides her brilliance in coaching, I think from outside, I got all of that from her. And when I coach, there's a few things that I really take through and that I know I learned from her. Again, I have to talk about coaches. Like, I know I have Norma now, but I've worked with Elsha at some stage. I've worked with Iana. I think even saying, I've worked with Coach Dudu under 21s, Danny Joey, and she was amazing. I loved her. I remember she bought me one of the covers, like a towel for swimming and stuff, because I couldn't swim, and every time we do our sport, I'll be so cold. So she bought me this kitten's towel. It was so funny. But anyway, I've worked with such amazing people, and I hate having to name them because I don't want to miss any. But again, now, actually, obviously, recently we all worked with Norma. What an amazing journey. I think being a player myself, who was used to working with people from South Africa, just admiring, you know, their potential and how advanced they are. You don't even know where it comes from because you're still within the country. But as soon as Norma came on board from a different country, then we got to learn such different things from her, how, you know, the sense of professionalism, the sense of the standard on court. When you're working, you can't really drop your standard. I think it's something that we, as, you know, bigger athletes now getting to coaching level, you teach your players these things. It's things that you can't just push away and say, I've learned it, I'm done with it. It's something that you can always take on, and it's amazing to work with people like that. And I think with Norma, also the fact that she brought out probably to all of us the sense of, I can be able to compete, and I'm at the level of everyone that plays this game. I think that was quite amazing to get from someone who's an international coming to us and making us see how good we are as a team. And the fact that everyone to her mattered the same. She could bring, you know, the best in everyone. I think it was just extraordinary. It was beautiful. I loved also the sense of, you know, coming on board with the leadership group in the team, you know, listening to our views. As such a brilliant coach as she is, she literally had times where she would call all of us in and say, what do you think about 1, 2, 3? I think that is amazing because it doesn't take, it's not everyone that does that. It takes a few people to allow people to have opinions, to say, you know, what they think, to speak their minds. Yet, you know exactly that whatever I'm saying, even if she doesn't have to use it, the fact that she gave me a chance to talk or to say what I think that was amazing with her. I can't even talk about the on-court stuff. Gosh, she was just great. I think I had a time where I knew exactly as soon as I look outside and she does this, then it means, you know, like, you know, get yourself up, just keep going or pick yourself up, something like that. And I remember saying to her, sometimes going to the game, I just need maybe 1, 2, 3 things that I need to work on. Then I'll probably be able to focus on those. And every time she would remember that, she would just say, today I just want you to do 1, just strong drives, you know, something like that, or get to the edge of the circle. And just because I mentioned this to her, she made it a point that she takes it and then she makes it work for both of us. So it's not every time also you get to look at your coach and say these things. Coach of that caliber, for that matter, I think again have to have so much respect with her. Again, luckily at this point, as you would know, working with Dumi and Dorette, different vibe, different style. I think for me, it also brings in, you know, that sense of I am a senior player and I've got to there's things that they can get to help the team with. There's things that I can step up as well as a Kate Taylor's leader and, you know, just get the girls going. I'm in a point where I really enjoy all the things that I've learned along the way from all the other coaches, managers I've worked with. And at this point, I just feel more the sense of I'm part of the team and the team matters. Team first before even the Bongi, which is what I want to live by. I think I'm quite excited with my journey and it's been amazing. Let me just say this before I even forget.
Okay.
First time you, Marika, stopped. I don't know if at some stage, and I like the fact that I'm saying this, I hope people will get to hear this. Sometimes you get to play the game you love or the sport you love with people that you don't even realize probably that much of how important they are in how you play. And because of that, it does take you time to think, okay, now it took me time to think, okay, now Erin is not there, Marika is not there. In my head, I was like, sure, we'll see what we can do. We'll miss them definitely, but we'll see what we can do. I think first time I was on court, in my head, I was like, love these girls, so much potential, and I know this is going to work and things like that. And it literally took so much time. Like even now, I know in my head, I'm still figuring out some of the things personally. But yes, I know in my head, when I catch the ball, you would have done this. I know Marika would have done this. And it's quite crazy. You know, it's such a good feeling that you play or you do things that you love with people, that you feel that you are so in sync that some of the things are effortless. And then sometimes it will take you a bit slower to adapt into things. But I have to thank you, Bob, for so much work. Not that you did for the Spar Protea, probably for me as a player. You were in front of me most of the years of my netball. Marika next to me all the time on the line. I think the bond or the connection, I can say, that we created, it's also something I'll always take with it. Memory-wise, I will know that was the best time. It was amazing, and obviously I do miss it.
Thanks, Gogs. Yeah, I think that's something that's just so amazing about sport.
It is
like that trust on court. We knew each other and we had each other's back, and I think that is what any coach wants to work towards. So thanks anyway. It was a big honor and so much fun to play with you as well. So I think the feeling is mutual. I want to go to England. So you've played for Surrey Storm under Tamsin Greenway, and you guys won both the leagues that year, 2015 and 2017. Obviously, she must see something in you first to recruit you and to get you over there. For you to go from sunny Durban to a cold England.
I know, it was hectic.
Yeah, but obviously she's got a few different things. What did you learn from that experience playing in England?
Oh, it was amazing. 2015, I went to play for Surrey Storm. I only went for 2 months because the first beginning of the league, I couldn't, just because of the visas and all, and it was my first time traveling alone. Work as well, I had to ask for leave. It was quite a mission. But anyway, eventually I went for that 2 months. I think, firstly, grateful for her, because I think even the international, you know, doors opening for me started there with her. And besides that, the respect she had for what I can do, what I can offer on courts, and the stuff that she always wanted to teach me. And I can remember her saying, oh no, she won't stop. She would just keep putting in the work. And I think that's probably one of the things that probably young players out there have to put in mind, that you can do everything, you can be as excellent, but if you don't want to put in the work, extra work, then it gets tough. And by the time it gets tough, obviously you kind of, you won't be able to play or to fit in. And it's very important that you back yourself up with the hard work. And I did like the fact that you can just look at me and say, one thing I like, Bongi, is that I know you will work hard. When literally we feel like, now it's tough, we just know you will keep going. And that's very important for me even now. I think besides going there and playing in 2015 and becoming, champs in that year, 2016 I got a job, I didn't go. She then asked me back in 2017 to go and play for Was now, and she was still coaching there. Again, had an amazing season. We still won the league, which was quite great. And I think not just the fact that I enjoyed my time playing that side, but the sense of coming from South Africa to play in England, the professionalism and everything, like the sense of, you've committed yourself here because you've signed, a contract that you will do 1, 2, 3, you're expected to do 1, 2, 3. All of that you only know after you did go that side. Amazingly, when I got there, even day one in 2015, the support from other players, the support from the managers, from everyone in the club. It was more like I would miss home, but never because I feel like I'm not at home. I literally had everything I needed. And in saying this, I think that's probably one of the things that we can still work on here at home, to say, if we in the team, sometimes it's really not about you, it's about what you can offer to make everyone in the team really fit in and feel like they're at home, feel good about what they're doing, so the whole team can do well. And I think that side, that was more important. I've learned that. In 2018, went to Australia, Thunderbirds, played for Thunderbirds, probably one of my worst seasons I've had in netball. And I always say that's probably one of the best things that happened to me, to go to Australia, because going again there, and I know it takes someone who really have been through sports probably for quite a while, or who've been through the sporting journey for some time, to understand what I'm talking about. When we go overseas and we sign contracts, you don't sign to say guaranteed all is going to go well. And this is probably one of the things that some of the upcoming players still need to understand. I've had a chat with a few players that will ask me, I feel like this is not going well, what do I do? And I really try to be open and teach or make them understand based on what I've learned, which is quite exciting also to know that our journeys are not just ours, as individually we can always share. Going to Australia, nothing really going well on courts. Trainings, amazing. I would love trainings. As soon as court times, I think I've probably only once or twice I've played netball where I feel like, okay, yes, I played well. Everything else just fell apart. Didn't really feel like I was there in any other chances. Like, it never felt like I was good enough. And in that case, in that sense, one of the days I got a phone call from Erin Bell. I think she sent me a message to say she wanted me to come and join her. I think she had a netball, Erin Bell netball, whatever that is, and she asked me to go there and be a guest speaker, some sort of. So the girls will train, and then in one of the half an hour, I'll go and just talk to the girls. This is Bongi, tell them about where I am, experiences and all of that. The girls used to love it. And this is also something I always look back and think, you would do so much and you won't even realize until you start talking to people about it. Then you can see, okay, maybe I've had a hell of a journey. But anyway, after I met Erin, I remember the first time she tried to pay me, and I was like, do I really have to get paid to do this? I feel like it's something I need to do, and not as work. And she was like, no, Bongi, you deserve it. You literally can take that money, and I still want you to come. I think a couple of times she wanted me to come. She'll pay. I won't even tell you how much. Like, something that when you come from South Africa, you always make yourself short. Like you feel like, no, I don't get this money. It's just too much. But willingly, she would just pay me for those. And she said to me one day, you literally have to go home. And when you go home, try and start your own netball project, whatever you call it, because you have so much to offer, like skills-wise, off the court, your experiences, everything. And then she said a lot of girls will learn out of that. Being a Bongi, it took me a while for it to sink in. But as soon as I came back home and I looked back, I do that. I went back, I came back home, looked back to a season that I had, and I needed to highlight a few things that were best that I've learned out of such a hectic season.
Yeah.
That came up in my head. I was like, I have to do this, I have to do this. Then I contacted her. She was like, at any time you need help. Eventually, even without so much of the help, I came up with a Bongi Msomi Netball project. I still, every now and then, people will ask me to come and do the trainings, like coach their kids at high schools, things like that. I get to enjoy doing those things because I know how it came about. And the more you have a reason behind what you do in your sporting career, I think it just makes it more exciting, and the more oomph of, I'm going to make it work. Doesn't matter how hard it is, it will work. So I think probably my message with this will be, never guarantee the best in everything you're doing. You can always put your best effort, but be open to, what if it doesn't work the way I want it to work? Because then if you're open to that and you have a second option or of something that you want to do out of the first one, then you don't really feel that depressed or that, sense of, I don't want to play anymore, that sense of giving up, because you already have a backup. But if you don't, really, you can just, from a season ahead with the Thunderbirds, you can really just come back and shut down and say, I'm done. So it's some of the things that we have to learn as people along the way, that we need to open our minds to, it might not work, and if it doesn't, what can I take out of it that can be best? And then obviously, 2019, I went back to Wasps. I gave an amazing season. We didn't win the league this last year, but we still came second, which I still find very amazing. Such a good side. I always say Wasps for me has always been home. I've had a great time in England. Even when I was in Storm, people really treated me with an open heart. I had amazing time with English people. It's been so great. Then during the season of Wasps, obviously, I had the idea of myself having to what's going to happen after netball when I feel like I'm done one day, and I like planning ahead. And in doing this, it's probably because I know where I come from. There's a few things where I would look back and say, but why wouldn't we think like this? Why wouldn't we know that this will happen before we even decide? So now I constantly in my mind think of, I don't want to get caught into a position where I'm stuck, finish playing netball, then what's next? So I already had an idea last year that I'm going to play and I'm going to enjoy it, but it has to get to a point where a Bongi needs to at least have a job, which eventually been great. After World Cup, obviously, just before I went to World Cup, I got an offer at UJ. Coming back, they sealed everything. They wanted me to go work there as a manager and coach, which is still quite exciting. I still can't believe it happened. Sometimes you dream of these things, and when they happen, then you can't believe, you're like, is it really happening? So then eventually I had to say to us, I'm not going back this year, which I'm really pleased I've done that decision. I've made it, because I think at this stage I'm at the point where I really enjoy what I'm doing, both on and off the courts. I'm like, God has just been great. It's been all a great timing. I'm loving my netball, knowing I have no pressure of having to go internationally for 6, 8, 10 months. I can always be available for Spar Protea. I can play the league back home, which has not even started this year. I was hoping to play TNL. It didn't work. But again, there's plans. There's reasons for everything. So it's been awesome. Ari, I've had such a fantastic journey in all aspects of life. It's been challenging. It's been awesome. It still is. I'm a netball coach, a netball manager now, still figuring things out. It's quite exciting as well. So I can't complain.
It's amazing how you mentioned there's always ups and downs. And sometimes when I listen to the kids in school, they have this dream and they have this idea that everything will just go smoothly and it'll be sunshine and roses, but it doesn't work like that. And I'm glad you mentioned it, like it's through the downs that you actually realized you have to have a plan B. And out of something bad came
Definitely.
something good. And I can hear when you're talking about how close you carry what the coaches have taught you, and the passion and all of that going into the netball. And I'm glad that
Yeah.
you're in a position where you can give some of it back. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited for you to see what you're going to do as a coach. Is coaching the
Thanks, God.
Protea something in the future? Is it a dream along the
Ooh,
road?
ooh, a sweat. um, I think at this stage, if I can be honest, I've loved coaching from probably playing in the national side from probably 2011, because already at that time I would help with the under 10s at training in my township where I come from. So with my coach, we'll try and figure out who's coaching who. So I
Yeah,
think from there, the love for coaching grew, and I've always done it. So now with my project, and I've already featured 2 teams with my coach and with the help of some of the guys in Hammersdale,
yeah,
2 teams in KZN Super League, which is an amazing league that goes on there. We get to groom the girls. They're doing so well at this stage. With all of that, I think it always makes me see and understand more that I really love coaching.
yeah,
Then getting the chance to work at UJ, I can't explain to you how amazing those girls have been to me. Besides, if I leave aside the fact that I have to be the manager to coordinate everything, really be on point with all that mean work and stuff, but being on a netball court, especially with the girls that don't see the potential, or that has probably lack of interest or lack of having to push so much because they haven't been doing well for a couple of years. I think I've been put in a space where the only thing I can do is to make a difference. And it doesn't matter the percentage of that difference, as long as there can be a difference. Trust me, sometimes I do stand on the side and I'll say one thing and I can see the girls, their eyes wide open and they're like, wow. And in my head, I'm like, it's nothing, it's not even, something
yeah,
that big. And it's probably something that I've heard from one of the coaches of something that I've done before.
yeah,
But to them, it means so much. It makes me feel so comfortable in what I do, and the respect that they have for me. And I can't take the fact that being on a national side also gives you that respect amongst the people. But besides that, I think also you have to be that person. You have to be someone that people can look up to and that they want to listen to. And at this stage, I'm really privileged that I'm at UJ. And I think I've had such a best time up to now with the girls, even now with their trainings and everything during lockdown. It's quite a hectic time, but it makes my job so much easier to be able to monitor them,
yeah,
still know their training, give them work, and they'll give feedback because they trust what I'm going to say and because they have respect for me. And I think just those 2 things can play such a huge role in what's going to happen, obviously, in terms of coaching and playing. So I'm quite excited, and I think coaching just allows you to be you and more, and it just allows you to educate and then see and monitor, then see the results at the end, which is what, as a player, you want to do. Unfortunately, as a player, you do that to yourself. You want to see the results that you can do or that you can come up with. But as a coach, you standing on the side and you're seeing someone else benefiting from what you can teach them, and then mentoring that all the time. Like, it's a constant relationship, communication, and it's just quite exciting. I'm really pleased I got that job, and I love it so far.
yeah. I have to warn you, it's really stressful being next to court, and at some stage you're going to want to take someone's bib and put yourself on court, because it feels like the emotion when you're playing, like you kind of release the stress after the first center pass, but when you're next to court, like that stress just builds up and you
I
sit
know
there
it
and
is.
you can't really show it, and you
And the nice thing with that, the funny thing is, you will see the girls, probably we've played a couple of friendlies, and you will talk to them, they'll look at you in the eye and you're like, do you understand what I'm saying? And they'll be like, sure, yes, I do understand.
you're like, no, you
As soon
don't.
as they leave you, as soon as they leave and go to court, first center pass, probably opposite of what you've asked. Then in my head, because I've been in this journey and I've been that person,
Yeah,
I'll just see myself doing this in one of the stage. I'm like, I probably have done that. So, the way you take it
yeah,
is much better. compared to someone who hasn't been in that situation and who doesn't know what it takes. Then eventually I'll be like, it's probably the nerves, they're probably scared, or they probably didn't understand what I was saying. I might have to express myself a little bit better next time, you know, things like that. But it also takes the learning that you know, everything that you've learned to get to a point where you would know what's the feedback after something like that happens. But it's quite hectic to be the coach, I have to say. I do sit on the side, even at the Saga Games. I still coached last year. I coached Maritzburg PMB at Saga Games. Literally, at some point, you get to extra time and you know exactly what you want to say to the girls, and you say to them, first thing they go on court, they won't do it, they'll do opposites. And then by the time goes in, they start doing it. And I'm like, what? I didn't even say anything now, but already they're doing it. So it's a learning curve. You learn as you go, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Gogs, yeah, thanks for your time. You're such an inspiration, and I hope that you reach a lot of people with your coaching and with your playing. You're just such a great person. You've got a good heart, and you're such a hard worker. And I really, really hope that you make such a big difference. And I think people will still talk about you for long after you're done playing, but I hope that's not soon. And after you decided
Hopefully.
and after the coaching. So yeah, just thanks for what you do for netball in our country. You're truly an inspiration, and it's been an honor to play alongside you. You like my Gogs, my friend, my
Oh,
so
Gogs.
thanks for everything.
Thank you so much, Eri.